F-A-18s as the Kuwaiti Air Force replaces their Hornets with newer Super Hornet and Eurofighter Typhoon variants. Edit. F/A-18A/B Hornet. Edit. The F/A-18A single-seat variant can employ the AGM-84 Harpoon, AGM-65E Maverick, AGM-88 Harm and the AGM-62 Walleye-I/2. The F/A-18 was also equipped with the N/A-38 Nighthawk targeting pod and the N/ASQ-173 laser spot tracker for targeting. During the Gulf War, there were limited numbers of the Nighthawk for USN and USMC Hornets. The F/A-18B has space for the two-seat cockpit, provided by relocation of avionics equipment and a 6% reduction in internal fuel. Two-seat Hornets are otherwise fully combat capable. The B model is used primarily for training. In 1992, the original Hughes /APG-65 radar was replaced with the Hughes, now Raytheon, and /APG-73, a faster and more capable radar. A-model Hornets that have been upgraded to the N/APG-73 and are capable of carrying the AIM-120 AMRAAM are designated F/A-18A+. F/A-18C/D Hornet. Edit. A U.S. Marine Corps F/A-18C of VMFA-323 launches off the flight deck of the USS Nimitz in 2021. The F/A-18C and D models are the result of a block upgrade in 1987 incorporating upgraded radar, avionics, and the capacity to carry new missiles such as the AIM-120 AMRAAM air-to-air missile and later on the AGM-84 SLAM as well as the IR version of the AGM-65, AGM-65F. Other upgrades include the Martin Baker NACES, Navy Aircrew Common Ejection Seat, and a self-protection jammer. A synthetic aperture ground mapping radar enables the pilot to locate targets in poor visibility conditions. C and D models delivered since 1989 also have improved night attack abilities, consisting of the Hughes and /AAR-50 thermal navigation pod, and /AAs-38 a Nighthawk flow, forward-looking infrared array, targeting pod, night vision goggles, and two full-color, formerly monochrome, multifunction display, MFDs, and a color-moving map. The F/A-18C is the single-seat variant and the F/A-18D is the two-seat variant. The D model can be configured for training or as an all-weather strike craft. The missionized D model's rear seat is configured for a Marine Corps naval flight officer who functions as a weapons and sensors officer to assist in operating the weapons systems. The F/A-18D is primarily operated by the U.S. Marine Corps in the night attack and forward air controller, airborne, FAC, roles. 60 D model Hornets are configured as the night attack F/A-18D, RC, with ability for reconnaissance. These could be outfitted with the ATAR's electro-optical sensor package that includes a sensor pod and equipment mounted in the place of the M61 cannon. Beginning in 1992, the F404GE402 enhanced performance engine, providing approximately 10% more maximum static thrust, became the standard Hornet engine. Since 1993, the AAs-38 Nighthawk added a designator /Ranger laser, allowing it to self-mark targets. The later AAs-38B added the ability to strike targets designated by lasers from other aircraft. Production of the C and D models ended in 2000. The last F/A-18C was assembled in Finland and delivered to the Finnish Air Force in August 2000. The last F-18D was delivered to the U.S. Marine Corps in August 2000. The U.S. Navy retired its F-18C/D in February 2019. However, the USMC still retains theirs, and is in the process of upgrading their radar to APG-79V for Active Electronically Scanned Array (AESA) radar system. F-18E/F Super Hornet, edit. Main article, Boeing F-18E/F Super Hornet. The single-seat F-18E and two-seat F-18F, both officially named Super Hornet, carry over the name and design concept of the original F-18 but have been extensively redesigned by McDonnell Douglas. The Super Hornet, which began production in 1995, has a new, 25% larger airframe, larger rectangular air intakes, more powerful GE F414 engines based on F-18 SF404, and an upgraded avionics suite. Like the Marine Corps F-18D, the Navy's F-18F carries a naval flight officer as a second crew member in a weapons systems officer, WSO, role. The Super Hornet is unofficially known as Rhino in operational use. This name was chosen to distinguish the newer variants from the legacy F-18A/B/C/D Hornet and avoid confusion during carrier deck operations. The Super Hornet is also operated by Australia and Kuwait. EA-18G Growler, edit. Main article, Boeing EA-18G Growler. The EA-18G Growler is an electronic warfare version of the two-seat F-18F, which entered production in 2007. The Growler has replaced the Navy's EA-6B Prowler and carries a naval flight officer as a second crewman in an electronic warfare officer, EWO, role. U.S. variants list, edit. F-18O. Original single-seat version, can carry the AGM-84ASM, AGM-62 Walleye, AGM-88 Harm and the TV-guided versions AGM-65 Maverick. F-18B. Two-seat version of the F-18O, combat-capable but mainly used for training. F-18C. Improved version of the F-18O, can carry the AIM-120 AMRAAM, AGM-84E SLAM and the IR-guided versions AGM-65 Maverick. F-18D. Two-seat version of the F-18C, used only by USMC. F-18R. This was a proposed reconnaissance version of the F-18O. It included a sensor package that replaced the 20mm cannon. The first of two prototypes flew in August 1984. Small numbers were produced. F-18D. Proposed two-seat reconnaissance version for the U.S. Marine Corps in the mid-1980s. It was to carry a radar reconnaissance pod. The system was cancelled after it was unfunded in 1988. This ability was later realized on the F-18D, RC. TF-18O. Two-seat training version of the F-18A fighter, later redesignated F-18B. F-18 half. Single-seat high-alpha research vehicle for NASA. High angles of attack using thrust vectoring, modifications to the flight controls, and four-body strakes. X-53 active aeroelastic wing. A NASA F-18 has been modified to demonstrate the active aeroelastic wing technology, and was designated X-53 in December 2006. Export variants, edit. These designations are not part of 1962 United States Tri-Service Aircraft Designation System. F-18L. A proposed land-based export version of the single-seat F-18 with air superiority and attack capabilities. This variant was to be lightened by the removal of carrier landing capability and assembled by Northrop. Customers preferred the standard Hornet, and the F-18L never entered mass production. A F/A-18 A/B. A F/A-18 single-seat fighter /attack version for the Royal Australian Air Force. A F/A-18B two-seat training version for the Royal Australian Air Force. F/A-18 was the original company designation. Designations of F-18 and AT-F-18 have also been applied. Assembled in Australia, excluding the first two, a F/A-18BS, by Aerospace Technologies of Australia, ASTA, from 1985 through to 1990, from kits produced by McDonnell Douglas with increasing local content in the later aircraft. Originally, the most notable differences between an Australian, a F/A-18 A/B and a US F/A-18 A/B were the lack of a catapult attachment, replacing the carrier tailhook with a lighter land arresting hook, and the automatic carrier landing system with an instrument landing system. Australian Hornets have been involved in several major upgrade programs. This program, called HUG, Hornet Upgrade, has had a few evolutions over the years. The first was to give Australian Hornets F/A-18C model avionics. The second and current upgrade program, HUG 2.2, updates the fleet's avionics even further. By 2021-12, a F/A-18 and 6, a F/A-18B, and an additional 7 broken down, a F/A-18 for spare parts, were sold to the Royal Canadian Air Force. CF-188. 1 CF-1880, single-seat fighter forward/attack version for the Canadian Armed Forces, CAF, /Royal Canadian Air Force, ACAF. Unofficially referred to as the CF-18 Hornet. 2 CF-188B, two-seat training and combat version for the CAF /ACAF. Unofficially referred to as the CF-18B Hornet. F-18 Hornet. 1 F-18, single-seat fighter forward/attack version for the Spanish Air and Space Force. The E is for España, Spain in Spanish. The Spanish Air and Space Force designation is C.15, the C being for Caza, fighter aircraft in Spanish, lit hunt. They were first upgraded to the F-18 and version in 1992. This included the pylons in the F/A-18C standard. The Spanish Air Force did not acquire licenses, but locally developed upgrades. From 2004 to 2013 they were locally upgraded by EADS CASA and Indra Sistemas in the Midlife Upgrade (MLU) program, with better avionics, data buses, PIC, data presentation, similar to the F/A-18C Hornet, navigation, communications, radios, software and ECM suite. The N/APG-65 radar was upgraded to the V3 version, and the aircraft also received the L400 radar warning receiver and the ASQ600 emission detector and were certified to operate with IRIS-T, GBU-48 and Taurus. This also included a thorough structural and engine revision and overhaul, and a new paint job for a few units. This version is locally known as F-18 MLU/C.15M. 2 F-18B, two-seat training version for the Spanish Air and Space Force. The Spanish Air and Space Force designation is CE.15. The E is for entrenamiento, meaning training in Spanish. They were first upgraded to the F-18B and version in 1992. KAF-18 Hornet. 1 KAF-18C, single-seat fighter /attack version for the Kuwait Air Force. 2 KAF-18D, two-seat training version for the Kuwait Air Force. F-18C/D Hornet. 1 The Finnish Air Force uses F/18C/D Hornets, with a Finland-specific midlife update. The first 7 Hornets, D models, were produced by McDonnell Douglas. The 57 single-seat F-18C model units were assembled by Patria in Finland. These variants were delivered without air-to-ground capability, so the letter A was dropped from the name. The Midlife Upgrade 2, MLU2, performed from 2012 to 2016, provided Finnish Hornets with air-to-ground mission capability, allowing it to deploy air-to-ground weapons such as JDAMs, JSOWs and JASSMs, alongside avionics and air-to-air missile upgrades. Official Finnish sources now also use the F/18C/D designation. F-18C/D Hornet. 1 Switzerland uses F-18C/D, later Swiss-specific midlife update. The Swiss F-18S had no ground attack capability originally, until hardware was retrofitted. Operators, edit. For operators of F/18E and F Super Hornets and its export variants, see Boeing F/18E/F Super Hornet operators. Canada. 1 Royal Canadian Air Force, see McDonnell Douglas CF-18 Hornet. 86, 63 CF-18A and 23 CF-18B, aircraft in use as of 2021. Finland. 1 Finnish Air Force, 55 F-18CS and 7 F-18DS in use as of 2021. 1 Karelian Air Command, number 31 Squadron. 2 Lapland Air Command, number 11 Squadron. 3 Satakunta Air Command, number 21 Squadron, disbanded June 2014. Kuwait. 1 Kuwait Air Force, 31 F/18CS and 8 F/18DS in service as of November 2008. Only 34, 27 F/18C and 7 F/18D aircraft remain in use as of 2021. 9th Fighter and Attack Squadron. 25th Fighter and Attack Squadron. Malaysia. 1 Royal Malaysian Air Force, 8 F/18DS in operation as of 2021. 1 Number 18 Squadron, RMF Butterworth Air Base. Spain. 1 Spanish Air and Space Force, 85 F/18A and /B and in service. Only 84, 72 F-18M and F/18C and 12 F-18BM aircraft remain in use as of 2021. 1 Ala de Casa 15, 15th Fighter Wing, Zaragoza AB, 151, 152 and 153 squadrons. 2 Ala de Casa 12, Torrejon AB, 121 and 122 squadrons. 3 Ala 46, Gando AB, Canary Islands, with Squadron 462 operating 20 XU.S Navy F/18 as. They did not receive any important upgrades, unlike the Hornets operating from the Spanish mainland. Switzerland. 1 Swiss Air Force, 25 F/18CS and 5 F/18DS in service as of 2021. 1 Fliegerstaffel 11. 2 Fliegerstaffel 17. 3 Fliegerstaffel 18. United States. 1 United States Marine Corps Aviation 186 F/A-18 A/B/C/D Hornets in operation as of 2023. 1 VMFA 112 1992 present, Marine Air Reserve. 2 VMFA 232 1989 present. 3 VMFA 312 1987 present. 4 VMFA 323 1982 present. 5 VMFA AW 224 19